On 2nd and 11, Cleland looking downfield, and it's intercepted. Josh Anderson, pick 6, and the Flyers cruising.
Davidson is.
Again, Sharon straight ahead, has a hole, bounces off of one. Mason Sharon, a bulldozer into the end zone, 47 yards. Well, what do we have here? 2 quarterbacks in the backfield. It's Dow to the left of Casiola. Dow gets it. Dow's going to throw. It's caught. Alec Keithley digging deep into the bag of tricks, and a touchdown for Dayton. This is potentially 4th and ball game. San Diego down by 3 scores. Scott Abel and this Davidson sideline hyping up the red-out atmosphere here at Richardson Stadium, the 100th and final season at this storied venue for the Wildcats. Two seconds to snap it. Sargent just gets it off. Rollins into the backfields. Out of a cannon, Julian Rollins. Cleland, he'll keep it himself once again, and Cleland's into the clear. Coulter Cleland, a foot race, and he's brought down just outside the 10. Sargent to the shotgun, the 3rd starting quarterback in 3 seasons for San Diego. Goes to the air, he finds Mitchell, who spins out of the tackle of Daniel Carter and ducks his way free. Riel Mitchell is unreal, and he's finally brought down by TJ McGee. San Diego's defense has done a great job this season keeping teams out of the end zone. Opponents just 8 of 15 on touchdowns in the red zone this season. Adams weaves his way, untouched for 6. Locko in motion. They look for him. They find him. Locko to the pylon. He scores. This is a game that always seems to be of the utmost importance. You look back these last 9 seasons, one of these 2 teams has claimed a conference title in 8 of the last 9 years. And given the way that the schedule shapes up with San Diego playing St. Thomas and Davidson not playing the Tommies this season, this is one that can determine who heads to the FCS playoffs from the PFL.
And you mentioned 8 of the last 9 years. Well, the only year that neither of these teams won the championship was last season. And Davidson still went to the FCS playoffs because of that ban for the Tommies in their transitional period. So, look, this game always seems to swing things. Maybe last year's the lone exception on paper, but in 2021, it was Davidson's win in Red Out Richardson over this San Diego team that powered them to the playoffs in the end.
San Diego leads this series 14-4 all-time, but Davidson has won 2 of the last 3. The Toreros did beat the Wildcats last year out in California as Uwagi's kick is fumbled inside the 10, and Ruben Lopez calls for the fair catch, so it goes back to where he initially called for it. So San Diego backed up deep in its own territory at the 7.
Are the worst field position they've had today, and this will be a full test for Grant Sargent. Backed up, how does he lead this drive with some blitzes coming his way now?
Sargent 4 for 5, 116 passing yards. The first-year starting quarterback, a 5th-year player. He waited patiently until his 5th season to become the starter for San Diego. And first down, straight ahead to Williams. Patiently weaves his way for first down yardage, pickup of 11.
It's those stutter steps for Williams that are just throwing off these Wildcat linebackers, and he's manufacturing space with one feint either way. It's allowed him to have a lot of success here early.
Williams, a San Diego native, playing for his hometown school after 3 seasons at Southern Utah. Before that, spent 1 year at San Diego Mesa Community College. So a nice little homecoming for the 6'2", 220 senior back. On first down, again it's Williams, jump cut, and a shoestring tackle made by Cameron Willis after the 3-yard carry.
And a huge tackle from Willis because that trips formation spread out the Wildcats secondary. There was no one deep to make that tackle, so potentially saving a touchdown, dare I say.
Williams, he is elusive. Third in the PFL in rushing yards per game this season. Second and 6. Surgeon to the air, quick slant, and he overshot his target, Jasim Reed. Great coverage by TJ McGee.
McGee was step for step with him there, so even if the ball's on target, it'll be interesting to see if Reed pulls it in. But I think McGee's looked pretty solid so far. He's squaring off against the top receiver for the San Diego team in Reed, and he's held him to a goose egg so far.
Not just the Toreros' top receiver, he is statistically the top wide receiver in the conference. TJ McGee, the sophomore from Texas, matched up with him. Third down for the Toreros. Longest they've had to go on third down today. Surgeon looking for Reed, and he overshot his intended target. Fourth down of the way.
They schemed up the one-on-one matchup they were looking for. Reed against the smaller Amari Hill. But like you said, John, Surgeon just missing his target. Now San Diego has to punt.
Well, they've had 2 punters play this season. Aiden Lehman, who also doubles as a kicker, and Aiden Corrales, a freshman from Fullerton, California. And it will be the freshman Corrales to send this away with Aaron Mayone standing back at the 30. Mayone calls for the fair catch and a fortuitous hop for the Toreros. Backs it up an extra 10 or so yards, so Davidson will start with it at the 20. It's been 3 drives, 3 scores for the Wildcats today.
And they've gotten in the red zone so effectively, virtually all on the ground, and it wasn't until last drive where the slots really started to announce themselves. So it's very impressive what Davidson's been able to do with a limited play calling set in many respects. And now the last couple drives opening things up a bit more. If I'm the San Diego coaching staff right now, I'm kind of flummoxed at the moment because everything has come off the last couple drives for the Cats.
Mayone, the motion man. It's Sharon straight ahead, and he has met at the line of scrimmage. Where to go, Jack Hammer stood him up.
Much more intentional about taking away the run between the tackles there, and San Diego devoting more bodies to that, and I think they're going to rely on their athleticism to make up the ground if Davidson starts to try to push it more outside.
Now McCurdy in motion. Gets the toss sweep. McCurdy ripped down, out of bounds. Big hit by Chase Lyons, and it sets up a third down and long for Davidson. So both defenses finding a little bit more success these last 2 drives.
San Diego stacks the box there, and that's what I was talking about. They're no longer scheming to take away the outside. They're scheming to take away the inside run like so many teams have, and then relying on the lateral quickness of a Lyons and a Wickware to make up the space on the outside to prevent big gains.
Davidson 2 of 4 on third down today. They are 39% in the season. Cleland to the air, and it is incomplete. Fourth down on the way. Garrett Carney got his hands on it.
Was looking for McCurdy in that little kind of comeback route, or almost a sitter curl route where he's just trying to find the empty space, and Cleveland missed him, and now they got a punt.
First 5 drives this game for both teams ended in points. Last 2 will end in punts as Tristan Allen is on to send it away. The senior who actually started his career as a cornerback and is now the starting punter, and that's why a booming kick fielded by Haney weaves his way towards the 40, stays on his feet, and is finally brought down after a solid return.
Well, I mentioned, John, I thought San Diego may feel a little flummoxed, and they responded perfectly in turn, right? 3 and out, and now they set themselves up with their best field position of the day as Sargent looks to get back on track.
And you figure these defenses and these defensive coaches, they're just too good for this game to become a shootout.
I agree with you, and in past years it has become that, but the last few meetings, the defenses have started to make big plays in the later stages, and you're seeing them grow into it here.
5 wide for San Diego. It's Sargent who leads out the troops. Sargent looking for Real Mitchell, overshot him. Cameron Willis in coverage.
And you see Mitchell turning back, almost confused. I think he expected that ball a beat later and a bit further inside. It's a miscommunication between Sargent and his receiver, as Mitchell didn't really have the time to create leverage against Willis.
Sargent started this game 4 of 5. He has since thrown 4 consecutive incomplete passes. This is a guy who last week completed 73% of his attempts against Dayton in San Diego's 40-25 win, as Real Mitchell now stands in the shotgun. The Swiss Army knife for San Diego. He'll keep it himself. The speedster finds a lane. Real Mitchell hops over midfield and into Davidson territory for the 16-yard carry.
And it's a simple off-tackle run. Great athleticism from the offensive line. Block in space there, and Mitchell has just been too quick for these Wildcat linebackers all day. You're seeing it time and time again, and once again rears its head.
Mitchell, no stranger to taking quarterback snaps. He was a quarterback earlier in his career at Iowa State and 2 seasons at Temple as well. They use him all over the fields here at San Diego. Sargent to the air on first down, but he can't get rid of it. Jonathan Hammond, it's his first tackle for loss of this season.
Yeah, we mentioned, when would he announce himself? This is a scheme blitz for Davidson. You saw both safeties drop deep in Hurd and Carter. There's no one to throw to if you're Sargent, and he's forced to take the sack.
Jonathan Hammond now just 8.5 sacks away from tying Bo Henderson for Davidson's career sack record. I think we were all kind of waiting, as you said, for Hammond to announce himself, and he finally does it here in the second quarter.
And he's so athletic, and even though he doesn't have any TFLs, you see his ability to plug up the run and a much-needed sack with the offense churning.
Second and long, whistles before the snap. And the play clock was winding down towards 0. It's a delay of game. So back things up 5 more yards. It'll be 2nd down and 18 for San Diego.
That was a drive that was so promising at the start. You start at your 40, Real Mitchell picks up 15 yards himself, and now a sack and a costly penalty has you well behind the chains, and you got to figure Sargent's going to throw this.
Penalty is something that San Diego has become a little bit too accustomed to. 115 out of 122 nationally in penalty yards per game. And Sargent does look to the air. Screen pass completed to Isaiah Smith. As Smith stutter steps along the sideline, they'll say that he did step out. Pickup of about 8. He was looking for the end zone.
And Davidson got bailed out because Smith was perfectly in space. A well-designed screen pass with blockers in front. Yeah, he had the sideline, and he just stepped out of play to the fortunes of this Wildcat secondary.
Isaiah Smith listed as a running back, but he has not ran the ball at all this season. It has been exclusively receptions for the senior from Oakland, California. 3rd and 10. Longest down and distance for the Toreros today. Sargent, pressure, flings it. Mitchell, brought down by McGee.
Well, this Wildcat pass rush only has 1 sack today, but what they've done really well is they forced Sargent to opt for these underneath routes. He's had no time to launch it deep on the outside, and you see here, under fire on the back foot, just forced to sling it over the middle, and McGee tracking the receiver step for step on the stop.
Well, late in this first half, San Diego elects to go for it on 4th down. They need to get to the 34. As the redout erupts here at Richardson Stadium. Davidson shows blitz. They bring it with Hammond, and it's completed to Williams as he extends forward. This is close. And it is a first down. They needed 7. They get 7.